Okay, in this segment I will be doing the same thing that I did a few minutes ago here by hand, the expectation and variance of a random variable. But let me show you the calculating power of our favorite calculator, the TI-30XS. And so, let's, on our calculator, notice that we have a button here called the data button. And so let's press that. And when you do, you will pop up these lists. And what we're simply going to do is to enter the X values in the first column and the probabilities in the second column. So back to ALEKS here. Notice here that we're going to have these values 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and they will go in our first column. So let's pop over there and do that. We'll simply put in 4, hit enter, 5, enter, 6, enter, 7, enter, and 8. Okay? Now we simply use our cursor key. Let's go ahead and get back here and take a look at our values. Notice that we've entered each of those and we have put them in our calculator. We can scroll back up and check them if we like. Notice that we want to get now in our second column and enter those probabilities that we had before. So we'll go down this second column and we will enter those 0.25 and then just press enter. We'll hit 0.35, enter, 0.05, enter, 0.25, enter, and 0.10, and enter. We can scroll back up through there and check them if we want to. The only mistake you can really make is by entering one of these numbers incorrectly. And so double check and make sure that what you have on your display is exactly what ALEKS tells you. But after that, it's pretty foolproof. What we will do now to calculate our answer is we will hit the second button and hit that same button again. But this time, because we've used the second function, we're going to actually use the stat function. So second and then data brings us to a menu. Now at this menu we will want to choose one variable stats, and so the number 1 is already highlighted. Let's select that, and here now you will probably have to make a change. As your calculator is originally set up, notice here that we are blinking on the L1. Let's go down to the frequency, and where this is flashing 1, let's move across to L2, hit enter, and that will lock that on, and then we will be in this calculation mode. So whenever you want to calculate the expectation and variance of a random variable, you'll need to make this change. It will stay put on the TI-30XS unless you change it or reset the calculator. So if you have a series of these to do, this will stay, but you just want to check and make sure you have that going. Once you're on calculate, you can just hit enter, and there's our answer immediately. You might recognize from doing this problem by hand that before we said here that this mean value was 5.60, and we have that. And so in the case of the TI-30XS, what they call the expectation value, your calculator is going to call X bar. Once again, it's an average. So just notice that change and make a note of that. Scrolling on down, notice that we want to get to this line, and this says sigma x. Now this isn't exactly what you want. This is close though, because what we need to do here is to take this value and square it in order to get our variance that they're asking for. So what I would tell you to do here is use two calculators. Use your TI-30XS to get the sigma value. Then go over here to your ALEKS calculator and enter that value. So I'll pop into ALEKS. I will hit the calculator button and I will simply enter that value of 1.3564, and I'll probably put it all in there, 65997, and then square that value. And when you do, you get a pretty nice value. It seems that in ALEKS, all of these numbers, if you carry all of your sigma x in there, a lot of these will go to 0 in here. Now, they don't tell us how to round this answer, oddly enough. So when you put that in, you can round much as we did before. We have the 5.60, and then notice here that once these go to 0 out in here, you can just simply put the 1.84. They are not particular really here on the rounding. They don't specify a rounding, so that's how I've been handling that. I hope that helps you. There is also a way to do this on the TI 83 and 84, and Miss Jet is very good with that calculator. So for the TI 30XS, that is a clever shortcut.